This is episode 325 of the Gold Squadron podcast. I'm one of your hosts, William Long Live the Ascendancy Hegwood, and I'm joined by Marcel. Pronounce Adisf Awa Tu Rafasa Astvuta Salreg Marzano.
You missed 3448, but otherwise, I thought that was actually pretty spot on. Good job.
Ryan DC Bound Staniszewski.
Yep, Thursday I'll be getting on a plane and flying an hour and a half over to the DC area for Nova.
Awesome. And James 2400 back in style. Ritter.
Yeah, the 2400 making a splash, at least at my store champ this weekend. Excited to see tentatively how it goes in the new meta.
Very exciting times indeed. Before we dive into some store championships and those new releases, we have to announce about Nova. Nova's this weekend. Ryan's heading there. Dion's heading there. GSP will be streaming all of it starting Friday, September 1st. And we will crown a world qualifying champion on Sunday, September 3rd. So 3 full days of X-Wing this weekend out in DC. I'm excited to hear. I know they moved venues, so I'm excited to hear about the new changes they have over at Nova. Speaking of events, though, this podcast episode is brought to you by the St. Lawrence Open. The St. Lawrence Open is a premier level event happening in St. Leonard, Quebec, Canada. The event takes place over 2 different weekends. Events for Shatterpoint, Crisis Protocol, and Armada are happening October 14th and 15th, and events for Legion and X-Wing will be happening October 21st and 22nd, where GSP will be streaming live. You can visit St. Laurent Open. .com for more information and sign up. We'll post the link in the description, and you can put in !SLO in our chat if you're watching live to find the link for that event. Super
Did you really
excited.
just acronym it slow?
What'd I say?
SLO, slow. Like
Uh,
a terrible
slow.
acronym.
St. Laurent Open. Makes sense to me.
The slow open, yeah.
The slow open. There you go. I'm sure they will appreciate that acronym. Anyways, that's super exciting. Love to hear about world qualifiers. Such big events. Very exciting. Bring so many people together for X-Wing, and GSP gets to cover them, which is the most exciting part to me. Now, speaking of things that we covered, first we're going to start talking about what we streamed this weekend at the Pastimes Store Championship. Thank you, Dion, for running the event. Nick Sperry holding down the stream for us, did an amazing job. And Marcel even played in it as well. Marcel, you want to give us a
played.
Want to give us a brief overview of your experience before we talk some lists?
Well, like I was saying, I enjoyed the drive there. It's like a 45-minute drive. I picked up Tim Woodbury, a good friend, and the ride was fun. Let's see. I forgot my dials. I was gonna take a scum list with Dace Bonar, actually. So I was planning on flying Scourge and Cad Bane with proton cannons, and then Cad Bane also had rerolls with Lando crew, and I had some fun stuff on there. I had those two. I had Dace Bonar with Mandalorian, so you can get the reinforced. Then I think it was Contraband and Notorious. So making base bone arm hard to kill, Manaru, and then I think Quinjest with heavy laser cannon and ion. I was gonna have a lot of fun hunting down with a lot of bullseye, some Han Solos and some Arc 170s. I was like, this is gonna be a good time. I got the dials. So the only other thing I had in my box was a janky League Knight. Don't bring your tryhard 3 rebel ship with Han Solo, Leia Organa, and Ezra. Which I opened the box for Ezra. Like that was the first time I ever opened the box, so I had no idea like how to fight the gauntlet, and it was miserable. I won the first game against Jango Zam and Dirge, so it was like a 3-on-3 matchup, so I actually had an opportunity. But then I flew against 4 X-Wings and a Dutch with a bunch of advanced proton torpedoes. Initiative 3 big base ship does not do well against a bunch of advanced proton torpedoes. And then after that, I flew against the 3 ARC list, you know, the big meanie. And after that, I just called it. I was like, this is bad. This is it's not enjoyable when you're flying a super janky list against in a tournament environment where people are bringing their best toys. So anyway, yeah, that was my experience. A little disappointing. I wanted to really fly those bullseyes. So I wanted to fly those ships. I just didn't get an opportunity to.
Oh, that's exciting stuff.
That is not exciting. That is terrible.
What I wanted to see. I thought Ezra was exciting. I don't know about you. It's inspired me to fly.
I mean, he blew up exciting. Like he died in one. He went from 12 health to 0 health in one turn. Oof. Not exciting.
That's. I mean, it sounds
exciting to me.
Yeah,
that sounds like a great explosion.
And to top it all off, yeah. I forgot he had Deadman switch. So, and he had one of the ships at 1 hull. So I probably could have got 6 points and lost 20-6 instead of 20-2. But I forgot all about it because it was so terrible. Anyway.
All right. Well, still sounds like an interesting list. We're going to check out if I can here. Maybe I can't. I was going to check out.
Having trouble looking at something?
Just Sam's list. Why can't I view you, Sam? He's secretive. Well, we can see what he's flying. He's got Vader, a Reaper, and 3 bombers. Yeah. So
yeah, try clicking on. Yeah.
Try clicking on the title. Oh, here we go.
Icons.
Yeah.
The icons worked. Yeah. Wow. So Sam went undefeated, got 4 wins in the event, and Sam so takes the world invite for the Store Championship flying. This is the starter box Vader, if I'm not mistaken. If it doesn't say boy, I bet that's a starter box. So has the ion missile variant, has a Vizier with Palpatine, and the bomber barrages here with Major Rhymer carrying barrage rocket salvo, ion bombs, Jonas with bomblet generator, and Tomex with bomblet generator as well. So coming, bringing those saturation salvos, making ships reroll their defense, makes them spend their tokens faster. I like that Emperor Palpatine being able to use the Force to help them hold on to that focus token for as long as possible. I can see why it did very well. I wanted to see what, I don't know who CRN is, but I wanted to check out their scum list here. They end up for the tiebreaker in 2nd place overall. Had Fen Rao with burnout thrusters, Predator Lone Wolf, Iman with VTG, Marauder, thermal detonators, and the Child. So Force, double shot, free rerolls, and crazy bomb drops. Crassus, that is the re-rolling of secondary weapons, and can shoot them out the back if I'm not mistaken. Can you shoot your cannon out the back? I think so.
Yeah, you
I don't know, but
Yeah.
that's Dan McGill.
Dan.
Dan McGinn or Dan McGill. I think it's McGill. So he was the TO at another store championship. Awesome dude. Great guy. But anyway, it's Dan.
Yeah, I mean, his fire sprays are getting they have bombs, they have force point, and they have rerolls on offense. So great built out fire sprays that aren't boba, and using the burnout thrusters on Fen Rao. Now, I've heard this a couple of times, so you gotta have the burnout thrusters on your Fen Rao. What is you guys' opinion on that?
I think burnout thrusters is should be stapled to Scum Fenrau, having basically the equivalent of Black 1 with less consequences for a ship like Fenrau, that even if he does get to range 1, he'll get his 4 dice attack anyway with the deplete. The only thing that I personally would switch around would be turning one of those talents into Beskar reinforced plating. Basically acts like a light extra amount of health in the game as long as you keep pointing at what's shooting at you. Crit will show up at some point, most likely, and you'll get to throw it away. That damage. So whether Lone Wolf or Predator swap out for that Beskar reinforced plating, and you could make an argument for Fearless instead of either one of those two. So a lot of 3-point options there, but I think Burnout Thrusters is where it starts.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about that dial. So it gives you a slam and a deplete. You can take the weapons disabled if you want, but it gives you a slam and a deplete normally. I'm trying to think about the...
Well, you take the deplete instead of taking the disarm.
Can you not choose?
You can choose, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You get to pick.
Oh,
But I mean, Fenrir does normally a lot of 2-speed moves. It opens up the ability to, because once Fenrir is stressed, he actually becomes pretty predictable. He only has 2 different straight moves he can do, and he has all the 2s available to him. But based on game state situation, you generally have a good idea where he's going, which generally makes Fen pretty blockable or actually pretty escapable, even if you don't have the same high initiative. But that burnout thrusters means once a game he's gonna try and catch. He's gonna get you. Maybe not full mods or full offense at the ready, but he's gonna find a way to get back into the fight much faster than he used to. Because that was one of the other problems with Fen is he'd make one pass, and then depending if you didn't have the right pathing, he's kind of weirdly trying to get his way back into the game. Because he's probably stressed from doing a linked action to get in the range 1, and so he can't do a red move to turn around, so he's trying to work his way back around. So either the burnout thrusters will get you back around faster, or burnout thrusters can offer some really good early game pressure, getting down the board, and if your opponent's giving up an early flank before they get into the main engagement, Fen could take advantage of that and make them choose if they need to turn and deal with that Fen or continue on the path they planned on.
Yeah, sure. Like if they just leave him to his neutral ledge, that 5 forward to start the game, basically in their backfield already. The other options, I like your analogy of like Poe, because just like Poe might do like a 3 bank into a 3 talon roll, Fenrir's doing the same thing. You can hard 2 left and then talon roll right and basically sneak behind ships. That's makes a lot of sense. It's that one.
The 2-speed to 2 talon roll is actually very, very good, because that gets him. That's perfectly used for one of those turns where he's already made his first pass, but he wants to put pressure back on. And when Fen's behind you, like, that's real rough. Because it's not as much of that immediate turn he's behind you where he's going to do a ton of damage, but the subsequent turns where he is now chasing you, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that sounds scary. And the whole while you're running from Fen Rao, you had to deal with 2 bomb-dropping fire sprays. So pretty impressive stuff there. We see a lot of arcs, a lot of beef at the top. I wouldn't say a lot of arcs. Well, here's some down here at 9 and 10 as well. They're here to stay. So that's the Pastimes Store Championship again. Congratulations to Sam for taking the whole thing. We're going to move over to Utah, and this is for the Blackfire Store Championship, where our very own James Ritter attended. James, can you give us some background on Blackfire?
Yeah, this is actually at my local for X-Wing and Shatterpoint and board games, so it was nice to have a store champ available there. We had 20 people, I believe, show up for the event, so really great turnout, and had a lot of fun. Very tough crowd, a lot of really great players, and a lot of different lists. I was surprised to see so many different lists there and so many different factions. I didn't think that I would see that many, so very excited to see all of those.
I'm not as proficient with Longshank. You're supposed to take a look at your list. How do I find your list?
If you go in the faction column, and you go to the player within that column, you'll be able to
click the faction
select.
button.
Yeah.
Oh.
So the little icon next to the faction, I think.
Yeah.
There we go. We found it. Thanks, guys.
We did it.
Yep.
Yeah, so similar to what I've been running for a while, 2 arcs, 2 Naboos, and Lumi. Ran Oddball and Wolf, Padme with Marksman Passive Proton, Rick with Lone Wolf Juke R4P, and Lumi with Patience and R77 and CLT. So a bunch of mitigation and protection between Padme, Luminara, and the Born for this from the 2 arcs. So a bunch of protection there.
Can you walk us through that Lumi Padme combination?
Right. So in the event that let's say someone rolls focus, hit against me on an attack against Padme, and they're in Padme's arc. Luminara can spend a force, as long as she's range 2 of Padme, to change one of those hit results to a focus, or you can change a crit to a hit, but most of the time it's a hit to a focus. And then, because now they have 2 focus results in the pool, they can only modify one of them. So I've essentially taken one of those hits out of the equation. And yeah, it's very strong. It works on all of her friends out to range 2. So works on the arcs, works on Padme, and really great at keeping those like high. It's really great for like high dice variance times when someone rolls out. There's like a bunch of. It's really good against a bunch of dice. So if someone is throwing 4+ dice at you, the odds are very good that there's going to be at least one focus result in that pool, and then you're going to change at least one more with Luminara. So a lot of defense there, and yeah, I just really like flying these ships together.
Trying to up everybody's 1 Naboo by flying 2 Naboos.
Flying 2, yeah. So did pretty well. Had a rough first game, and somehow really just submarined back into 2nd place out of Swiss. Not sure how I managed that, just because I ended up going into like the bottom pool of brackets, but ended up doing pretty well.
Yeah, I'm checking out the other top 4 list. Is that what you guys played, like 4 rounds, so then top 4?
4 rounds, top 4.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at the other top 4 list in there. We had an Imperial list. Bring in, of course, Darth Vader, 6-point Darth Vader, and 3-point Tomax Bren. pretty much must-haves in any Imperial list. Bring in Mauler as the 3-pointer, and Vizier and Merrick as the other 4-pointers in that squad. So really showing how Imperials can kind of just spin the wheel. And as long as you know what you're doing with them, anything can work out. There's another Imperial list in here.
Yeah,
Let me guess.
so this is basically, this is basically a copy pasta from the other Empire list from the Pastimes.
Sure. This one has Battle of Yavin, though. Small difference.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their own preference, I think, on Vader there.
Oh, yeah.
The Triple Bombers. This one has Reimer with Seismics, and then Vizier with Palpatine. Man, just the triple barrage is demoralizing sometimes.
Yeah.
You really had to work to get around it. But then, the overall winner, Steven here, brings Han Solo, built out as you do these days, Perceptive Bistan engine hopeful. Or no, Chopper brought hopeful. I kind of like that, though. The little boost. When Sabine inevitably goes down, you have Luke Boy out there at 5 points. And then Lebo. This is customizable Lebo, so when they spend a calculate, they can get another one, but they only get one calculate as their action. Has false transponder codes, rigged cargo chute, ablative plating, trick shot, and outrider. So love shooting through obstacles for that outrider trick shot combination, dropping obstacles for himself and Han, and can even fly through if the opponent, say, put out some big rocks that Lebo's got to crash through, can go through them with ablative plating as well. That's an interesting loadout because it doesn't necessarily give you a lot more like modifications. Normally, I feel like everyone's searching for like the lone wolves, the predators, anything that can modify your dice. But this one brought different ways to accomplish that same goal. James, what was your experience against it?
So I played this in the top 4 match, and I knew about the Outrider clarification before the game, like before the event. So I tried my best to avoid it, but still got played like a chump with this new title, errata. So if anyone is not aware, the Outrider title as it existed before this release is no more. It does not exist and has been errated to match what is on the standardized card almost. It has a small clarification that you can be, it says obstructed, not obstructed by an obstacle, for that juke effect, which is very important because that means you can be obstructed by your own ships, enemy ships, devices, or obstacles. So, very nasty. Getting 4 dice at range 3 with a juke, with Lebo and Luke and Lebo one-rounded my Padme. And they were both... well, Luke wasn't in Padme's arc, but it didn't matter. He rolled enough to get what he needed. It was a very frustrating game.
I pulled it up here for everybody to view that right. It is the assumption to me, apparently I have to do some more research, but they can't ban the Outrider card because the Outrider is the same card that, like, there has to be an Outrider.
Right.
And with no way to, I don't think, distinguish between the two
Outrider
Outriders.
number 2.
Yeah. Whereas the Slave 1 title is like Scum and Separatist versus Scum only. So there is like a notable difference there. This one. So, blanket, this is the Outrider, whether as a customizable card at this time. Whether you're playing Old Dash or New Dash or whatever you're having fun with, this is the Outrider you should be playing. Probably not great with the, well, I mean, probably pretty good with Old Dash. But Old Dash has been banned. You have to fly the new Dash cards if you want to fly Dash. I know we were doing a lot of speculation on that, and I was wrong. Silly me. But they banned the old Outrider card, errated it to this, and they banned old Dash and Lebo, and the generic, I believe, as well. If you got a 4 dice, get out of here. Go into the ban list, which is, James, I know you talked about, I know we're segueing in a little bit to the 2400, but it's a great time to bring it up.
This works, yeah.
You had mentioned that like this would be really good on old Dash if you're playing extended, but if you're banned, you're not allowed an extended normally. It has to be like an exception to the rule.
It does say legal for extended.
What?
So as long as you're playing at an extended event with banned pilots, then it works. But most extended events are extended with no banned pilots. So
yeah,
like,
I mean, no one's regulating extended
he is not
events.
banned in extended.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, he is not banned in extended, but most extended events are really just extended plus the ban list.
Okay. Well, if you play in standard, you'll be safe from a 4 dice Dash using this Outrider. So it's a safe space for everybody.
To get 5 dice at range 3.
Yeah, no
and
thanks.
trick shot.
Yeah. Oh,
And trick
jeez.
shot, yeah, easiest
wailing.
6 dice I've ever seen in my life.
Just wailing, wailing Bistan 6 dice attacks at you. Look out.
But I'd like to get back to the title because there's a little bit of judge talk and speculation as to like, is this actually an intended adjustment or is this a typo? So I know people who've been doing some sleuthing into the rules reference in the FAQ section, anywhere else that would reference the Outrider title, to make sure what else may counter, would make this contradictory in any manner, and give any potential evidence as to it being a typo. And I checked with the judges for Nova to see what they're doing. They're still in discussion. They try to see if they can get an answer for me before this episode, but they said they were still working through it and discussing about it. So we are not 100% sure yet until we hear from AMG or see maybe an updated document to say otherwise, whether this is
To better define
as
what obstructed is, maybe.
No, it's not as much defined obstructed as are we missing the by obstacle part, basically.
Okay, sure.
Because obstructed right now, as James said, it's as long as you're obstructing an object. Objects can be obstructed. It's only when the obstacles are obstructing something where any other game effects happen until now, which is this Outrider title. So, your ships, enemy ships, devices, obstacles. I checked. Scenario objectives do not count for obstructed
objects.
Correct. Well, no, they are objects, but they are scenario features, and it's in the actual scenario documents that they do not account for obstructions, even though they are objects.
Okay, that's it.
So, the Outrider title will not at current printing in the errata will not give you the obstruction bonus with objectives as well. But we'll have to see. I think Nova might set a little bit of the precedence how we're handling this for now until we hear directly from AMG on this. Likely in a forum post. I'm actually going to take a quick look while you guys continue and see if I can find anything on the forums of anyone who's already asked. I doubt we have an answer yet, but I'll see if anything's already started.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so
I mean, like, what makes me think that it's a typo is that the Outrider title that they printed with the 2400 re-release pack has by an obstacle.
Yeah,
also the newly printed upgrade.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Was that the one in the pack the customized card in the pack
The one in the pack
is that the
is
same?
the same as the standardized.
Okay.
As the standardized.
And
Well,
the standardized
is
one
correct.
says, I have it pulled up here for the scum or whatever, but it says, while you perform an attack that is obstructed by an obstacle. That by an obstacle is
Yeah.
the one that's missing.
Yeah.
So it's printed on the other one, so it seems strange that the customized version wouldn't. So that's really where, not that we would doubt AMG's intent for anything, but the mixed messages, we'll say, on that is certainly confusing. Because what is the other things that could obstruct it?
If the physical card has the wording, like I mean, I looked at Infinite Arenas and they have a screenshot of someone who like took an image of the printed one, and it says obstructed by an obstacle. So I would err on the side of this point that it is a typo. I guess I'm kind of surprised that we actually haven't. I guess I don't know what makes that potentially confusing because, yeah, I guess the errata show. Well, here's the other part. We don't know if the errata's already meant to errata the card that came with the pack. We've seen that already with some of the scenarios where they had wrong initiative values on some ships, or had to clarify certain wordings like Yavin Iden Interceptor. So they have printed stuff that came out where they needed to errata it because because unfortunately it had already been printed.
Gleb and Hera got like week 1 erratas.
Yep.
When we noticed very glaring flaws in their design. Well, not their design, but the wording that they were trying to express how they wanted the card to be played.
I think another point in this is maybe a mistake in for this would be that if they had intended to actually errata this card, right, they would have also errated the standardized loadouts.
That's true. So maybe, I mean, unless they intend a difference. So, but I'm sure, like Ryan said,
I feel like that would just cause confusion.
Yeah, trying not to errata standard loadouts, right? Like that's kind of the whole point of them. But like Ryan said, I'm sure we'll get a definitive answer from Nova. Probably going to set a precedent, if not the correct, I guess, interpretation of what that card should actually say. So maybe we'll get an updated errata. But
no posts yet on the X-Wing rules forums. So
okay.
But I'm pretty sure other judges may have been attempted to make some contact or just talk with other judges. Like, if I know the guys who helped run Worlds as judges, they talk with each other quite often. So I doubt that Nova, while the Nova team makes the final decision for the Nova Open itself, I'm pretty sure they're talking with other judges around to see how they want to rule this for the time being until we hear directly from AMG.
Sure. That is
essentially though.
Kitty.
Steven said he had a great time with the 2400. He was previously flying it before the re-release, and he said he really enjoyed flying it again and had a lot of fun. I kind of talked about it in our offline chat, but yeah, the strength in this list is that he has 3 ships that have unlimited soft mods on defense. So,
yep.
And
if you're
elaborate as to what those are.
Yeah, so Han Solo obviously gets his ability for rerolling defense dice as long as he's at range 0 to 1 of an obstacle. Luke Skywalker obviously gets his force back every time he is targeted as a defender, and then Lebo gets a calculate every time he spins a calculate. So after you defend or perform an attack, if you spin a calculate, you get a calculate. So essentially, if you don't take his calculate from him, he will generate that calculate again, which means that he essentially has Luke's ability. But better because it works on attack as well.
It's pretty
So-
close to it, but yeah.
Oh, but it only can only max out at one calculate, right? If you've spent it,
Right.
you only get one back, whereas loot could still go up to say 2 force.
I mean, you can get to 2 force with Lebo. You
Not-
bring K2SO
Oh, yeah.
in Ezra tie.
true.
Yeah, you bring K2SO, and then the only problem with that is he's stressed, and he only has 4 blue maneuvers, and they're not good. But yeah, that is something that we talked about. But either way, I think Lebo looks great. I think Dash looks interesting. I'll have to, we'll have to get some more game time in with him and see how he goes. But did we want to talk any more on the 2400 release?
Yeah, I want to talk about loadouts for them. Let's do a quick overview for points, particularly that the Scum versions, can't show both of them because they both have the same Outrider title, but the Scum versions of those standard loadouts come in at 7 points. The exact same abilities and cards for the Rebel faction, though, those standard loadouts, Dash comes in at 7 points with those Seeker missiles. And Lebo, though, Lebo's standardized for Rebels, even though it's the exact same card, actually is only 6 points. And that stays true for the customized versions as well. Dash stays at 7, and Lebo is at 6, which I have to feel is like a competitive number. We compare, I mean, it's the same price as Ezra Gauntlet, Chopper, as well. Those, it's such a break point because at 7 points you had to compete with Han and Lando and those other Falcons, and like Kanan Ghost. But at 6 points, though, that now we're talking. So of course you're gonna put the Outrider title on there, but he has Talent, Missile, which is Lebo, customizable Lebo. We're gonna start with Talent, Missile, Illicit, Modification, and 16 loadout. So notably, no gunners, no crew members. So no C-3PO crew, no Bistan gunner, even though I guess it'd be hard to get a focus token on this guy. Probably not in Rebels, but I can be self-sufficient about it. But I want to ask you guys, how would you build this out? Because though I think the one we saw, while it certainly worked, it didn't, I don't think, have that kind of optimization that we could discover. I like the false transponder codes. You have so much loadout and really not a lot to spend it on, so you might as well go big on those 5-pointers. But like, what else are you guys trying to take here?
Ryan was immediately mad at me that he didn't take
Notorious.
Notorious.
Yeah,
He was
I would
like,
say-
how is he taking this ship without Notorious?
Well, I mean that stands out the most to me because you're already taking an illicit on this ship. You have a lot of points. You don't have a lot of spots anywhere else. I'm not putting a missile on Lebo. No thanks. So.
Maybe if you had
False
energy
transponders are good,
shells.
like, please don't lock me type of thing.
Oh,
I
energy
think
shells would be pretty spicy.
Well, that's separatist only, so
Yeah.
we're gonna have to ditch factions here for a second to get those.
I mean, I'll say I don't mind the trick shot. Getting 2 extra dice on a shot at range 3 obstructed. That's pretty nice. But I think Notorious offers you that offensive reroll after stuff's already shot at you. You're I3, so it's actually come into play pretty well. It's probably more often the shots coming into you aren't as dangerous as the ones you put back into them if you're doing obstructed stuff. So after FTC and Notorious, you're only left with 4 points, so it's not an amazing final amount to work with. You could ditch the last point and take a 3-point illicit, or I think Dead Man's and Electronic Baffle is fine. Not with the purpose. I mean, you could if you're on 1 health and you're going to kill the thing next to you too. You could baffle yourself to death. It's true, but it's more so the YT-2400 style is not very blue. It's predominantly white maneuvers. So when you are in a spot, I mean, ideally you're kiting a lot of stuff and nothing will get in front of you to block you. But that's not you can't ever guarantee that. And I think there's going to be more times than not where you're going to not want to do a 1 straight, 1 bank, or 2 straight as your move. And you want to do more moves or have more options than just that. And I think that's where Baffle can, I'll take a damage to get rid of the stress to keep my dial back open. But
Yeah,
I also like the
kind
idea.
of-
Like, I wish I had one more point because I would really like to have Contraband and Baffle, so I could kind of cover that across multiple avenues, whether it's using Contraband or Baffle.
So
That is interesting.
Are you not interested in A, ablative, B, overtuned, which would be interesting on him, or what else was it? Or just straight or rig cargo? What was the other one? Or did none of those really interest you?
I feel like Overtuned was like the first upgrade I put on it when I started building it. But now, I don't know. Now it could be detrimental because if you were trying to save that calculate, right, for your like attack, but you roll out 2 hits in a blank, now you're going to get penalized for holding on to that calculate by giving a strain. This is post the overtuned modulators. But that strain combined with the bad dial plus the sensor blind spot. Remember that not only do you get reduced attack dice, you also get reduced defense at range 1. So if you're strained and somebody's shooting you range 1, you have no defense to block it. So it feels scary. You really had to be on your game about the kite to create that distance, preventing people from getting in there. Cargo shoot's the same price. I don't know. Cargo shoot seems
So I've
good.
been quiet a little too long. I was doing stuff, but
No worries.
you guys are completely overlooking feedback array. Notorious contraband feedback array and electronic baffle.
I
If somebody
knew
wants to
he
get
was going to
close-
bring it up. I knew it.
Yeah, because I mean, if somebody wants to get close because they want to get inside that bubble, I'm just gonna ram right into you. Take the 1 ion that's gonna do nothing to me. Take the 1 damage, which okay, and my what would be actually wait. Here is a question.
Okay. Here's an answer.
Yeah. No. So instead of rolling 2 dice at something, you're just guaranteeing that damage. So
No, you're still rolling. Let's see. While I perform a primary attack. So
no, feedback array. It says before you engage. No, actually, the title. Yeah, you only roll 2 dice because it says while you perform a range 0 or 1 attack, you roll.
Is
1
it
to your-
only 2 dice or is it 3? Because you still get the range normal game state range 1 bonus.
Not at 0 though.
No, not at 0 because feedback array only works at 0.
Oh, true. Yeah.
So when you're at range 0, you would be rolling 2 unmodded dice. With feedback array, you're just basically guaranteeing any AC ship that wants to get up close to you. Just say, well, I'm just gonna turn right into you, and
Yeah.
now you're gonna take a
force a
damage.
bump.
Yeah, just force a bump, and it's a large base ship, so it can force a bump on multiple ships, and then you have 1 damage across multiple ships to 1 damage to your own. And again, the ion really doesn't do anything, so you get the notorious contraband feedback array. And if you do the feedback array and they shot at you at range 0, they probably took a bad shot. You still give them the feedback array. I mean, you still give them the notorious, but you then forego your shot to give them an automatic damage, and they still have the strain token from from the Notorious.
Which means they
That's
they
true.
have to do a blue to get rid of that strain, or
Yeah, they have to do, or else they're going to be, And wait, you can use electronic baffle if it's going to be your third ion. You can use the electronic baffle to just get rid of that and not be ionized if you don't want to be ionized.
So instead of taking false, go something else.
Yeah, instead of taking the ion, you just take.
No, when you take feedback array in this version, you don't have any points left if you stick with false and notorious.
Yeah, it would be feedback array, contraband, cybernetics, electronic
Contraband,
baffle, and
okay.
notorious. Yeah.
Flying through those debris. You know?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Why not?
There's a lot of stuff that likes to lock right now, so I like false transponder codes personally.
Or you can just do feedback, false transponder codes.
Again, I think Trick is just as a viable thing as Notorious. You could still, like, if all we did here is just swap Notorious back to Trick, you're left with 7 points of upgrades to work with, where you could do the probably contraband, and that's where ablative comes in, maybe, which is the original build, I think. Or you can keep the feedback array and then just do feedback and baffle like you talked about, and still keep false transponder codes and then take a trick shot.
Is there any preference to taking Lone Wolf? It's been a very popular upgrade. Saw that you could fit Lone Wolf, False, and Shield. Just basically as a ablative plating, but for attacks. Or do you think you move too slow to really make it use of Lone Wolf? I'm just worried about the
You
bear
are on the fringe
rolls.
quite a lot, though.
The bear rolling out. Is Lone Wolf more or less expensive? Okay, so expert handling's 2 points.
Yeah.
I think you would need probably a
Let me ask you
coordinator
this.
to try to do that shenanigans. So
Are you right now taking any rebel list with Lebo and not also taking Han?
I mean, I don't see any reason not to. Right.
Okay. So you are at baseline 4-ship list at max.
right.
And Han and Lebo don't have to stay close together. If anything, they want to be completely far apart, so they're overlapping arcs across from both sides of the table. Mm-hmm. You know, not to where they can hit each other, and your opponent has to decide what target they want to go after. While Luke's just trying to land some protorps and Sabine TIE fighters flying around doing objectives. So Lone Wolf isn't unreasonable to consider.
Yeah, I guess they would come down to your
I think
squad count. Huh?
I think you'd be better off taking another talent, personally. But
Okay. Yeah, what
Either
do you think
something
about Lebo, Lando, and Han all in one list?
oh, that fits. Heck yes. Yep. You took
Yeah,
the wrong
that
6
fits.
point. You took the wrong 6 point, Marcel.
Hey, that what?
You took the wrong 6 pointer this weekend.
No, I didn't. Actually, Dion did not allow
Didn't allow
that
Oh,
or
boo.
Evo or
had a street date for it. Didn't come to pass. So interesting
Kind
there.
of Pastimes, you mean?
Oh, shoot. All right, well, that's, I think, a lot of variations we could do for Lebo. Of course, your coordinator, your K2SO could really spice that a ship up. But what about Dash? Now, Dash's ability says, during the engagement phase, you ignore the effects of obstacles that you are overlapping. So you can shoot on gas clouds, you can shoot on debris, any kind of obstacle that would prevent you from attacking on it. At the expense, though, you still suffer the effects of going onto it, mostly losing your action and rolling for damage. Now, Dash does have talent, missile, crew, 2 elicits, and a modification. So I feel like the crew is the place you start, right? Like, what crew is Dash Rendar trying to take?
Saw kind of a spicy combination I liked. So yes, can you take Force Crew? Obviously, Kanan is there. Also
Kanan,
provides some of
child.
that stress mitigation if you bump, so that's always an option. I think once again, these YTs don't want to be, these 2400s really don't want to be targeted that much and burned down. So if you can keep most of the actual damage being done to you to only be when they're inside of your range 1, the better. I think there's an interesting play for Ursa Wren again. Dash shouldn't be commonly stressed unless he does bump for a focus, which if he knows he's going to do that in this build that I have Contraband. It's Trick Shot, Ursa Wren, False Transponder Codes, Contraband, and Baffle. Got that Contraband Baffle combination to help alleviate turns of stress. Ursa Wren and False Transponder Codes is actually kind of nasty. Is if they lock any one of your friends at range 0 to 3, Dash gets to perform a lock action. Doesn't even have to be locking the ship that's locked you. So if they lock someone on your team, you get to lock something else with False Transponder Code. So it's like a reactive jam plus a lock for yourself, and you've already taken probably a focus for offense. So I think that's an interesting one.
That is disgusting. I hate that. That is. I was like, why? I mean, like, you just don't lock Dash. It's like, well, he can lock you and force you to jam.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go lock someone else. No, Dash will lock you anyway and jam that lock anyway. Bye.
Oh, that is spicy. I kind of like it. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem with Dash is that you only have that single action. So you gotta try to, when you're rolling 4 attack dice, you're looking for that double mod, if possible.
Yeah,
So,
and even though the false transponder is only once a game, just like you said, yeah, getting that extra lock action just whenever someone wants to lock you, that can be a big deterrent. If you're staring down a 5 dice shot coming at you because a trick shot and outrider title that's juking you, and you're like, I really want to lock Luke or Han or whoever's flying with Dash, and you realize
this makes Vader so sad.
Yeah, it does. It very much does. Vader better burn that Dash down quick, because the more Vader goes to lock stuff, the more Dash is going to lock him back.
Yeah, boy, Vader hates this.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, better have some friends to pop some locks off beforehand, I'm trying to look at other ones. I mean, Lando is always funny, being able to get focus and evade. But I'm not really seeing too many other standouts. I like the idea of Contraband. They can get stressed from bumps, and you might need to forward or like hard 3 out of that bump focus. So it makes sense to me. James, you got any spicy loadouts here?
So I guess my first question would be to you is, do you have a coordinator in the list? If your answer is yes, I think you could definitely look at expert handling as an option.
Okay.
Because expert handling followed by a 3 hard or a 3 bank is a massively different area that you would not be, right?
It's a whole range band. When you barrel roll a large base, you move an entire range band.
Right.
So that could get you out to range 3, out of range 1 attacks.
Yeah, barreling out that far is very good. So also barreling off of somebody and then doing, or if you have a higher initiative coordinator, being able to see what's happening on the field and coordinate them later, also very good. So I do like the expert handling Kanan, and then false is what I was building, and then just like losing the point.
Yeah, I was trying to split that into 2 different ones. You can go cargo shoot Contraband if you want.
Yeah, cargo. I mean, the extra coordinate with cargo is very good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're already bringing a coordinator, I mean, why not?
Yeah,
why not?
You don't need a roll. Okay, cool. I'll get a.
Oh yeah.
I coordinated cargo, then do my 3 hard, then a barrel roll to get range 3.
Dropping the cargo before you move is just nasty, especially when like the I-4s have moved up into you, right, as their give chase, and you just drop it right on top of them. That's I think we were experimenting doing that with Boy Han, because he also
Boy
has a
Han,
cargo
yeah.
chute.
Yeah. So I do like this version of Dash with Lando Falcon. I flew a lot of Dash Lando at the start of 2.0. So this definitely makes my heart happy a little bit, but also sad to see across the table for me, because that is going to be a tough nut to crack.
Yeah, you still got 6 points. You can go. Probably, well, you can't go Levo because only one Outrider. It's about the only thing saving us from these 2400s is that you can only bring one in
Yeah.
a list.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
running it
you
without
could go-
Outrider seems silly.
You could go man Luke here,
Oh yeah.
but maybe like a big region Luke.
I mean, shattering shot, trick shot, Luke, right? Like at that point,
I'm
does that still
You're already
fit?
going into the obstacles. Yeah, already going into the obstacles. So
Oh, I thought they priced out the R3 version. Wait, no, R3 went back down, didn't he?
R3 went back down. Yeah.
Does that fit? Oh yeah, with points for baffle. I guess you take failsafe if you want. But we're rolling 6 dice. Like, well, you get a failsafe.
Yeah, you
Wow,
better not
that
be
seems
fail-safe with that
that
shot, yeah.
seems really nasty. Oh boy, this is some like shattering shot, Kylo kind of stuff. Oh man.
Yeah.
What about you, Marcel? Do you got a flavor of Dash loadout that you've been looking at?
No. Who's already went? Because I walked away and I walked.
We talked about Ursa Ren crew, and we talked about Kanan Jarrus expert handling version as well. Really keeps your dial
Well, I
open.
think the expert handling is. I wouldn't call it a must, but it's as close to a must as you can, because of wanting it, because of the ability you want it to stay away, but also keep the dial open. I think probably Kanan is actually better for that, though, isn't it? You guys already talked
Yeah,
about
no,
it.
Kanan with expert handling. Is that what you mean? Or are you trying to say like one or the other?
Yeah, one or the other.
Well-
Because if you're barrel rolling and you're stressed,
Well,
you can do a white maneuver to clear it, but at least during that barrel roll, you already have a modifier on offense.
well,
So for the turn that you barrel roll, you got a modifier.
if you do the barrel roll, then you still have the force available.
Yeah, even if you're stressed though,
Yeah, but then the next turn you won't have.
you won't have the force, but just don't put yourself in a situation where you have to barrel roll every turn. I mean, you want some modifiers eventually.
Oh, then a lock. Yeah.
Yeah, so you go with Kanan. Actually, you know what? That's not aggression enough. You got to fit some Saw Gerrera in there. So you go dead.
Oh,
You got to go expert handling Saw Gerrera is what you do.
Mm.
That's a little. Yeah. What are we?
Who are
you
we?
do Saw Gerrera.
Who are you? Why are we not bringing Saw Gerrera?
Yeah, and then false
think
transponder
if-
codes, so that if you go against anybody lower initiative, or even if you go against, like, let's say, Atomic's brand, but you win the initiative roll and you move second, you target lock him, pop his focus away, and then you got Saw Gerrera, target lock, and a million dice on him. Yeah, so I would actually, that's my loadout right there. Expert handling, Saw Gerrera, false transponder codes, and
Dead Man's Baffle.
Deadman switch and electronic baffle. There you go. Actually, yeah.
so
There you go. Deadman's, electronic, outrider, false transponder code, Saw Gerrera, and expert handling.
I feel like if I'm going into Saw Gerrera, I want the ability to get 5 dice. That's just me. Because that's where the Sagrera on the
Yeah,
beast
but the
actually
blue. I mean, if
shines.
you're barrel rolling to get away, the blue are just really bad. You only get like you're going super slow. You're not gonna be able to go anywhere. So if anybody is close to you and you're barrel rolling to get away, but you can only lose that stress with a speed 1 or 2. They're gonna be on you for the rest of the game. Like you need a way to ducktail out of there and go for a forward barrel roll next turn as well.
Interesting. I'm gonna, you know me, I'm gonna try to put Lone Wolf on my dash. Why bother with target locks? But I got so many points after that. Because I was taking Lone Wolf and Lando. Really going full defensive here. But I have 10 points of loadout, though. I guess shield.
Wait. Just
shot.
real quick note on Saw Gerrera. The one thing that was a positive out of this weekend, out of this ready to delete out of my brain weekend, was Leia with Shattering Shot and Saw Gerrera crew. That's really good. Because you spend the force to get the extra focus, and then you take damage to push the crit through, and so you move, you target lock, you throw you throw 3 dice at a fourth, bunch of crits, good stuff. So, anyway, sorry, you were saying.
You know what? I'm going to take just all the munitions. I think I would try out Lone Wolf, Lando Calrissian, False Transponder Codes, Hotshot Blaster, and Proton Rockets. Now that's some aggression, Marcel. I got bullseye out the front, range one out the back, and then the bow tie out the sides. Really, weapons
that's
platform.
almost 360. Yeah,
We're trying for 360 here. There's
I
some
think
range.
that may actually be the closest to 360 we have, right?
I mean, Star Fortress with bombs, probably. I mean, you could take a full arc missile. Like this could just be like homing missile if you wanted.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, there you go.
But
360.
Proton seems just funnier. So you know, I'm gonna roll 2 evades on my Lando and not have a focus for that procket that turn. You know.
Yep.
This is exactly what's gonna happen.
The one turn, yeah.
The one turn that I do it, and then just like, oh, you don't have a focus token. I guess I'll go into your bullseye. So that's some interesting variations there. Of course, the standard loadouts, they all have the Seeker missiles, so it's kind of inspired by that kind of, I would say. But that's some exciting stuff. Hopefully we see some dash. I know 6-point Lebo is going to make a big splash. So let's take a look at the TIE bombers. Now, if I'm not mistaken, only the TIE bomber expansion standard loadouts are new. Their customizable versions are the exact same as the traditional standard loadout, or traditional customizable ones.
Yeah.
So we're just taking a look at these. We reviewed them a while ago. We're gonna start with blasphemy. Let me tell you. So Deathfire is the I-3 bomber. His standard loadout includes a swift approach upgrade. Allows them to boost barrel in the system phase, counter nets, proton bombs, but this ability, of course, nimble bomber as well. Everybody's got nimble bomber. Deathfire says standard loadout: after you fully execute a speed 3 to 5 maneuver, if you have not dropped or launched a device this round, you may spend 2 charges to drop or launch a device using the 3 forward template. And against My best wishes.
Wait. I just to make sure you read it. Drop
I
or
did read it.
launch a bomb, not a device.
Oh, I might have said device. I apologize if I did. You cannot
Yeah, because
launch
one, you
that
wouldn't be
Connor
able to-
net. Do
Yeah.
not launch the Connor net, please. That's only for the system phase. But the ruling has come down that because it references what template you could launch this with, being the deciding difference between whether you can launch or not, because it includes the template you need to use to launch it, you can, in fact, throw those proton bombs forward after a speed 3 to 5. And the 3 template will not hit you. If it was a 2, you would actually suffer that bomb. You'd have to like barrel roll out of it or something. So you
can launch it at a 3 bank as well.
a nimble bomber says only when you drop a device, so you cannot launch
not
with a
launch.
3 bank.
Got it.
If you happen to do a 5K, you could most certainly 3 bank that proton bomb behind you, because that would be allowed to replace that template then. So 3 points.
So that would
boys.
be a
Jeez.
5, like turn 1 5K, 3 poop with 3 range 3 proton.
Yeah, that's like
That's a total of like 9.
that's only out to range 4 from your deployment. So you're only about a little over halfway through the board.
Wait, no, because you go 5 forward, so you're at the front. You go 5 forward.
That's
a
3
total of
ranges.
6.
That's a third of the board.
Well, I don't know about ranges, but that's a total of 6 speed.
Yeah,
And then you do
five,
another
5
3,
speed
4,
movement
1.
is equivalent to range 2 band.
Okay.
So you would do so the bomb would go range 4.5 then or so.
About 5.5 from your board edge.
5.5.
So you're a little bit past. Well, you're a range and a half or so, almost 2 ranges from the center of the board. So you're getting there, but it's not quite like in their deployment zone. If they 5 forward, yeah, they could in theory 5 forward right onto that bomb. So it's much more terrifying round 2 when you've already 4 forwarded. And now you have that threat of, do I 3 bank and then launch it? But I know it doesn't have munitions, doesn't not have those barrage bomber, barrage salvo combination. At just 3 points though, how often do you think we're going to see this slotted in though?
I think it depends on how much. Right now, I don't think a lot, because you've got a lot of ships with a lot of shields. The proton bombs kind of don't help a whole lot there. But I think if the meta starts shifting towards a lot of AC ships, just ships that are hard to hit, then you might see more of it. So I think it'll be dependent on. If you're seeing a lot of beef with a lot of shields, I don't think it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so you're saying that this would be in a world where we're scared of TIE and vulture swarms. This would be like the silver bullet.
Yeah,
But we don't see those.
But it'd be good.
Yeah.
It would be good. Well, maybe not silver bullet. They would not like it. We'll say this much. Interesting.
Yeah, I think also. I mean, like this Deathfire version is literally just a 2-die gun out there that can occasionally drop good bombs.
Yeah, that's true. As a note, this bomber can only launch every other turn. You do have to spend 2 charges once recurring to do that ability. I mean, this is making its best first order bomber impression as well, with that swift approach. So you can get
It's
some.
doing its best. Yeah.
It's doing its best. But I don't know if it's necessarily. Oh, you know what? Actually, Switch Approach says even while stressed. Huh. Would you look at that?
Yeah. Yeah, but if you're doing this, then you can't do
You can't launch them.
your ability. Yeah.
Right. I think we talked about this, that you could, in that same instance, the 5K 3-bank drop, and then from that, you could actually boost 2-bank, or drop another bomb, the Connor, and then boost and 2-bank out of there. So it's scary. I don't like it. I don't like how it's 3 points. But maybe there's so many other bombers at 3 points though. So
Yeah, there's so many other better bombers at 3 points too.
well, that's a great segue if I've ever heard one. And Tomex Bren, the I-5, the TIE Bomber expansion. Tomex Bren standard loadout has a 3 squad cost. This has the ability to perform a barrel roll action. You can spend 2 of your charges once recurring. If you do, gain a focus token, which you get to really set up because they have that barrel roll linked lock. You can get 3 actions in the opening engagement, and all you have to do, all you have to shoot is these plasma torpedoes. Still very powerful at I-5. Has ion bombs, great with that nimble bomber. Then True Grit, which is at the end of the activation phase before combat. If you are not strained, you may gain 1 strain token to remove 1 non-lock red or orange token. I think this is I think we said if there is any standard loadout upgrade that I would like to see more widely used. A True Grit would be amazing on so many ships. Maybe reduce it down to take that. Maybe define the tokens a little bit better, but taking a strain to remove a stress for your maneuver the following round, or mostly that reloaded disarm, being able to reload your torpedo and then immediately fire it with its full effect. Seems super good. Unfortunately, this is the Tomex that doesn't care about reloading, so that's unfortunate.
The one that would work well with the reload doesn't have that ability.
Yeah. Can I get
Arguably has a much better ability anyway.
Arguably has a much better ability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the barrel roll, that's why it bothers me when I fly Tomex right now, is that I can't use that barrel link lock because I'm shooting those dumb barrage rockets. But barrel link lock is one of my favorite linked actions in the entire game. So
Well, I mean, once you start at that range 2 or 3 first engagement, and when you get close enough, and if you move after them and they move in front of you, end up being range 1. You're not shooting barrage rocket anyway. Just barrel out of their arc and then shoot them with a locked range 1.
I mean, it happens more often than you think. Of just my bomber, what you thought was my filler jouster is actually out here arc dodging you. So
Yeah. I-5
pretty
ace.
impressive. I-5 ace, yeah. So
I
that's
guess kind of speaking to the difference, because people are going to make the direct comparison. Why should I bring this new standard loadout Tomex versus the Sat Salvo Barrage Rocket Bomblet Generator version? So I think there's a couple things that are pros and cons for both. In favor of the Barrage one, you are a more flexible firing platform in that all you need is a focus action, and you can choose your target when you shoot. You're not lock based. You don't have to shoot the thing you lock to shoot 3 dice attacks like you would with the plasma torpedo. And with that as well, you have a small amount of double modification. If you get the bullseye, you can use the barrages, spend charge to reroll blanks. And then you obviously have Sat Salvo to help push that damage through. More often than not, you're probably not getting bullseye on a ton of things, so it is just a single focus mod attack that does negate the range 3, and you have flexible firing. So if you have a lot of other ships that are shooting at that could shoot before you, you could more freely save Tomex's shot and be flexible with how you want to focus your fire if a lot of things or stuff has the chance to move after you. On the flip side, though, standardized Tomex obviously has a really good ability and double mod his shots when he needs to, as long as you almost play it like a B-wing, where you're planning on barrel rolling in mind anyway, so you don't want to put yourself in a normal move to where doing a barrel roll would be a detriment to your attack vector or pattern. So you almost got to treat like approaching it like a B-wing. Like, you're probably better off flying and landing yourself in front of an obstacle to make yourself a little more unpredictable, and then you can barrel roll to either side of the obstacle, decide where you want to continue your approach, and if you want to go on that turn for your full offense. And having that true grit allows you to not be stressed, take a strain instead. If they're not coming at you anyway, you're kind of free to do more white moves next turn if you need to, and do the same trick or close. I mean, we'll see. The trick can only be done every other turn, but still lobbing a plasma torpor, just being range one's pretty good. And that's the other part too. We are in a decent meta for plasma torpedoes. A lot of stuff is shields, and double modding a plasma torp can very easily rip shields off an Arc 170 or a T-70 or anything else with shields out there. So
like YT-2400 is, yeah.
Sure. Or YT-1300s.
YT-1300s.
Yep. So it's with the standardized version, you're going to have to pretty much dictate Tomex to hunting things he's allowed to hunt, in that you're moving after a thing all the time, or you can threaten another I-5 thing. Unless you're trying to trap an I-6 with multiple ships and not just trying to get it with Tomex, you could use it. You could use a standardized Tomex there. But if you want to have a little more flexibility in where you're directing your firepower when that ship engages, and not kind of be directed towards where you should attack because of how the plasma works and getting locks, etc., you could err on the side of the barrage. My guess is your higher damage output is actually going to come from the plasma torp version in most cases, but the flexibility is going to come from the barrage version.
Yeah, the ability to do 4 damage with that plasma. Yeah, definitely, especially because you can reload it very easily reload it, and still get that shot off.
Yeah, you could shoot as many plasmas as you would shoot with barrages in the barrage version. I mean, I'd say most Tomexes shoot 2 to 3 barrage rocket shots a game.
Can confirm. Yep.
Yeah. Now it's either A, because you're dead before you can use them all, or B, you're using some of them for sat salvo, so you're not using 5 barrage rocket shots unless you get really lucky.
Yeah, I'm converted, mostly because I run Merrick Stell right next to my Tomex Bren, so anything that helps take shields off of people. But yeah,
I already got a buddy of mine who's tried that out and was like, "This is awesome." He's putting that plasma torp next to Merrick, and Tomex just like leading the way. All right, Merrick, do your thing. Crit time.
Yeah, don't shoot at me. I'm just a bomber. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Love that double bomb. All right, well, let's keep going. This is one that it hurts that this is 4 points. The Major Rhymer standard loadout. It still has that nimble bomber, but does it bring any bombs? This Rhymer says, while you perform a torpedo attack, if the defender's in your bullseye, change one eyeball result to a crit result. So another way to double modify an attack here from Major Rhymer. This one has the torpedo of choice, advanced proton torpedoes. That's 5 dice at range 1. Now, Major Rhymer's only initiative 4, so it's going to need some help getting to it. That range 1, and so it has afterburners equipped. So you got any slew of 3 speed maneuver and a 4 forward into a boost to try to find that. Plus, as the aforementioned barrel linked lock. 4 forward, bank boost, barrel lock. If that doesn't get you range 1, I don't know what will. But the also has all other upgrade. Automated loaders. Single charge for this upgrade. After you perform a primary attack, you may spend a charge to perform a reload action. Assuming the reload action's not the one on their bar, which would create a white reload action. This could be very, very good. Comment, if you don't do the linked action, if you just say Afterburner's boost into target lock, if you already had that bullseye lined up, you can then K-turn, do a little 3K, shoot your primary, reload that advanced proton, and then head back into the fight. Oh, it's an action, isn't it? Oh, boo. Yes. Okay, well, you hard to, we'll say.
Find something to shoot. You don't even care if you hit. You're just doing it for the reload.
I mean, that's...
Just take focus, get a reload.
Man, that's a spicy upgrade. That might also be up there. I was just like, this would be a great modification on this. Because, like, who's trying to reload, right? Maybe, like, Luke. I would assume this would have to have a reload on your action bar if it was ever, like, out in the wild. But that's very exciting to me. At 4 points, though... That's big competition, especially in Empire, or in most factions, but especially in Empire. Any your guys' thoughts on the Afterburners Major Rhymer?
I wanted a new funny APT man. Like we had 404, we have Hull, both are 3 points as they are. Wanted the Empire's version to show up, have a 3-point funny APT man.
This is not a funny.
Yeah, this is not funny. This is
not funny.
It's fun for me.
It's fun for Rhymer. But
yeah,
man,
let Rhymer have fun.
Fair.
Yeah, stop hating on Rhymer, guys. Come on.
Yeah, maybe I mean, 2 advanced protons, 2 afterburners. This guy's gonna burn bright. Let me tell you.
Yeah, he is gonna use all 6 of those holes getting there, though.
Yeah.
If you see this guy coming at you, shoot it. Shoot it dead. You need to get this thing out of the way. Do not let it get range 1 of you.
Yeah, don't let it shoot 3 shots. Proton, primary, proton. Oof.
Yeah.
All right, well, we got one more here at 5 points. Almost twice the cost of the lower cost bombers. This is Captain Jonas. I-4, no longer supporting the barrage bombers. He is now getting evade tokens. After you launch or drop a device, gain an evade token. Well, sometimes. So it has, as you know, proton bombs for the bomb of choice. And does have barrage rockets, but no Jonas rerolls for them, so just your standard barrage rocket there. But the interesting twist here is top cover. After a friendly ship at range 0 to 1 defends, so could be you. If you have not dropped or launched a device this round, you may launch a device using the 3 bank or 3 forward template. In addition, you ignore the effects of friendly devices. So, Jonas comes up, takes his focus for his barrage rockets. You shoot an attack at him. He's not only going to be able to launch one of his proton bombs at you, he's going to get a free evade as well. And then hopefully that evade can help him hold on to that focus for longer. But most importantly, that when you do launch the bomb, it doesn't explode right away. It explodes at the end of activation. So then you'll have to move forward into that bomb for it before it explodes. So that ignore the effects of friendly devices on that top cover is so important. But like, wow. I mean, that's pretty powerful. The effects of friendly devices. I have to imagine, and well, also, launching bombs in combat has to be wise. Jonas is up to 5 points. What's your thoughts on this?
I don't know if
I
I'm
mean-
ever gonna like justify the 5-point cost right now.
Yeah, as a comparison here.
Top covers as a neat ability.
Yeah, I want to do some comparisons here about other 5-point ships. Suture fell.
Soontir fell.
Second
Sincere
sister.
fail. Wow.
Second sister also 5
Grand
points.
Inquisitor.
Yep, Grand Inquisitor.
Seems like
Also-
a lot more things that can survive and still do probably comparable damage to Jonas.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. I guess Duchess flies in that same, like a fifth brother Duchess gets in there. Someone else who can double modify their attacks, has, defensive force, in addition to like an evade or focus token combination. So it's going to be hard pressed for this Jonas to beat out these other ones. But maybe you're already launching with Deathfire, so launching with Jonas would be pretty fun as well. Jonas could ignore Deathfire's launched proton bomb. So maybe there's something to that.
Yeah, I mean, Jonas says, I'm going to put this bomb here when you shoot me or a friend at range 0 to 1 with top cover. And says, guess where I get to go and you probably shouldn't.
Yeah,
Just doesn't care.
You better leave because I will block you onto this bomb. I would prefer it, actually. So maybe not too much Jonas happening. That's going to be for fun upgrade, but I do think that we'll see some people dabbling in Rhymer, but that Tomax Brand I5 double mounted plasmas at 3 points. Sign me up. I am ready.
Yeah, I was trying to find a way to attack Jonas during activation. That way the bomb goes off in the same round, but I couldn't get it.
Snapshot.
Yeah, but then your opponent has to opt into that.
Yeah, that's fair. They had to make that choice, don't they? Be like, I'll snapshot you. I was like, well, I'm going to launch a bomb at you. What do you think about that?
Yeah, turns
yikes.
out those range units are perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yikes.
Yeah,
Oh, man,
I was like,
imagine not even just snapshot. So this top cover doesn't have a restriction of once per round. So
Well, it says if you have not launched
Han?
or drop a device this
if you have there it is. I was like, wait a minute, bonus attacks? Can we launch
just-
2 here in a turn?
just
Never
if,
mind.
if there's a comma, that just means stop reading until the other comma, right? Like, it's classic X-Wing reading. Like,
Yeah.
really good trigger, blah blah blah, really good effect, nice. Like, I also was thinking the exact same thing before I read it out loud. I was like, can this guy get 2 evades and launch 2 proton bombs? Because that would be nasty. So, interesting here. My only is kind of my follow-up question, Marcelo. Maybe you can get me an opinion on this. What do you think about them using the same 4 named pilots for every expansion and standard loadout?
Wait, what? What do I think about them using the same?
The same 4 pilots. So we've had the customizable versions of these pilots have been in the game since conversion kits.
Mm-hmm.
The starter pack that has a single bomber in it also has these 4 pilots as SSP variations of their same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any? Oh, I guess there's not a major Rhymer SSP. Am I crazy about this? Maybe not.
yeah,
Anyways.
essentially,
Yeah, so
they-
basically,
they-
why are
for
I mean,
using the same pilots.
yeah, they're using the same. I mean, the only thing that comes to mind is I don't know what type of red tape they got to go through to allow a new named pilot to be introduced into the game, and how that impacts development time. if you're waiting for approval, if you're getting a pilot that is not already included in the game and you have already not gotten the license to get the pilot into the game. The alternative would be to just create a generic, but we already know that they are actively trying to kill off generics, and they just don't want generics in the game. That's
Well, tell that to the Sigmas, I guess. They could have
but
had,
they really don't. They don't want generic.
They wouldn't
That's,
prefer
I mean,
it, yeah.
yeah. I mean, we can. I mean, that's just what it is. They don't.
Sure.
And that would be my only thing is, because of the way that the situation worked with FFG going over to AMG, all of the shipping and, all of the delays that occurred because of COVID-19 and stuff like that, and they're trying to push stuff through. And, the quickest path from A to Z being a straight line of, let's not get new pilots going through the whole system to get approved. I mean, that's the reasoning that sounds logical to me is just that, trying to get new pilots approved in product that you're trying to come out with quickly
Sure.
is probably the reason why they're just regurgitating a lot of the same pilots.
So how does that align with the fact that we have Hot Shots and Aces that gave us a majority new pilots, and we get some new pilots in the scenarios?
I mean, that's I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. And also, we don't know how many pilots FFG or even AMG from the beginning already had approval for. Maybe not approval for as far as like this is their abilities and stuff like that, but just at a high level had approval for already. Again, without. So that would be one. I'm just trying to think out loud here. That would be one path of thinking. It's just like from a business standpoint, from a legal standpoint or just a timing standpoint of getting stuff approved. That way, and the other one would be just from a simplicity standpoint of not having to try to balance out, trying to balance out the abilities of A with abilities of B combined, so the 1 + 1 = 27 type of thing. It makes it easier to have everything be like, okay, if we have this as what the Imperial loadout is or the Imperial arsenal is, and then we introduce a new ship with a new ability, that's how this new ship and this new ability fits into the entire Imperial loadout. But if you introduce that new ship and then you have to also account for that ship to match up with this other ship, now you might start getting into that broken, where you get that combo wing where all these abilities kind of like break stuff, and it's easier to just say this is your complete Imperial loadout, and we're introducing one variable into it, or 4 if there's 4 ships. We're introducing 4 unique variables into it, but instead of multiplying and say we're introducing 4 unique variables into it in 3 different fashions that can all kind of like play off each other, and you can create all kinds of lists together, and there might be some broken combo wing as a result of it. So those would probably be my 2 guesses. One of them is just simplicity of maintaining balance because you're only introducing one thing at a time versus introducing like a compound effect of like this ability plus this ability plus this ability. And the other one would be, the licensing issue.
Sure. Now, you know what? You bring up a lot of good points, especially with like a lot of the bombers costing only 3 points. We could realistically have like in a different world, what is that? Six different named 3-point TIE bombers all in one list, which would feel like a bit much. So all that makes a lot of sense. to meet. So very exciting to find out how people are flying the bombers and how people are list building with the 2400s. I do got one last thing here before we wrap up, and it is about the miniatures extravaganza. They just posted today their schedule for Thursday, September 14th, all about Marvel Crisis Protocol, showing off a roadmap of it, and in addition to a lot of other things. The Friday is mostly about Shatterpoint, going over the roadmap, doing a lot of talks about the launch of the new game. And then Saturday, the 16th, goes deep into Legion's roadmap, doing different things about they call it Battle Colors for their Legion game. Now, this is kind of relates to a great question in our Discord, ! Discord. Join us in our conversations here. Snaves, though, brings up a controversial question. I don't want to go negative here, but I would like to discuss it a little bit now that the schedule is out. Anyways, Snape says, a little controversial, but anyways, you guys can discuss the lack of X-Wing in the upcoming miniatures extravaganza, and goes on to talk about, we just got new releases, but it was a bit disappointing to find out that there's no X-Wing at the miniatures extravaganza. Now, do you guys have any responses to that as far as why there's no X-Wing at the miniatures extravaganza? Maybe not why, but you're not AMG, but
it's a miniatures extravaganza, not a. It's a hobby day. It's a hobby thing, and X-Wing is not a hobby game. So I understand why people are sad and upset that we're not going to see any information for X-Wing or Armada. But yeah,
Define hobby.
Hobby is assembly, painting.
Yeah.
Of miniatures. So if you are
miniatures, yeah.
Sure, if you what are the punch boards? It's miniatures punch boards. What are they called? Sprue? Sprue. If your game comes in sprues or your miniature comes in sprues, that is the hobby gaming at its base point. Assembling those miniatures, painting them.
Yeah, that's what this miniature extravaganza is all about, is the hobby aspect of the game. So, and that's what a lot of Legion and Shatterpoint is. Shatterpoint and Crisis Protocol is the hobby aspect of the game. And to a little bit, Legion is as well.
Yeah, not as customizable, but I've seen a lot of cool Legion models that people have customized. But yeah, it seems like a lot of it's painting, going over their different like painting competitions that they have done. Ryan, you had a chance to look over it. Did you see anything that like stood out to you as far as the miniatures exam? Or something that maybe we should be tuning in for?
I mean, if you're interested in any of the games, I mean, you should be, like, even if you're not currently playing them, but like, let's say you have some locals that picked up Shatterpoint, or someone picked up Legion recently. You have a friend that's like, hey, maybe try some Marvel stuff. Like, doesn't hurt to, you got some free time, work, and you're allowed to put on the stream and listen/watch it. Why not? Right? There's everything from paint painting stuff, future of product, etc., etc. I mean, I don't follow any of these specific games religiously. I keep tabs on Shatterpoint and Legion every once in a while. Am I gonna watch any of this? No, but not because of the content, because I'm very busy at work.
Sure. No, it makes sense. I mean, if you're into painting, like, this is the events for you. Though I am looking through, and one does stand out to me, and it is what they call Shatterpoint First Steps into a Larger World. This is 12:30 p.m. on Friday. The reason I mention it is because it says, well, I'll just read the excerpt then. It should explain it. It says, in June, at game shops around the world, Star Wars Shatterpoint took its first steps into the world at large. Joined Will Stick, Will Pagani, and Michael Plummer for a look back at the design and development journey that led to the arrival of the latest Star Wars miniature games, events, and gameplay. So it does say Stick, Pagani, and Plummer, all people that have a big influence on X-Wing as well. So if you are interested in that kind of development side, to get kind of in the mindset of what it's like to develop X-Wing and other miniatures games, that could be a great place to get some of that information. I doubt they'll talk anything but Shatterpoint, because that's kind of the focus. They're promoting their new game, of course. But again, it could give that kind of insight of the same kind of development questions we would have for X-Wing about what things they're trying to accomplish in each of their games. Beyond that, though, I did not see too many things. I mean, there's a lot for Shatterpoint. If you're excited about Shatterpoint, ooh, boy, do they got the content coming for you. And no, first time caller, I don't think X-Wing is fading away. They're just excited about their new game, and it aligns with Legion and Crisis Protocol the most. Still, should be pretty exciting to find out. Maybe we could, maybe not press them, but maybe they'll have some exciting announcements for their other games. So I want to stay tuned.
It's not helpful to just go on every post they made on Twitter or Facebook about the publicizing the schedule for Mini Extravaganza and berating them about not having X-Wing content planned for it. You could share your excitement for or desire for future X-Wing products in a respectful manner, and that'll help them see that, hey, we should continue. Maybe next Mini Extravaganza will make sure we will have X-Wing, or we should publicize something soon to Twitter or our Star Wars transmissions for X-Wing. They probably already have their schedule planned. I'm not sure how much what we say is going to change their immediate responses, but more their long-term stuff. As long as we be respectful about anything we post as a comment towards their publicizing of the Mini Extravaganza schedule, and not be jerks about it, more likely they'll probably accept positive reception for that.
Right. Yeah, just preface, like, X-Wing player here, excited to hear X-Wing news when possible. Right? You don't have to stay on the positive side of things. Stop being so negative. I know it's the internet. It's so easy to be negative. But we need to show them that, X-Wing, we're passionate. We just want to know. I just want to go over, for some reason, you skipped the first 5 minutes of this podcast. I got to remind you about the Nova Open this weekend, and of course that St. Lawrence Open happening October 21st and 22nd. So stay tuned on this Twitch channel right here for more X-Wing content. Until then, everybody here at Gold Squadron, stay safe, stay smart. Gold Squadron out.